There's something that I want to talk about, and I hope this lands in the correct way. Excuse the cat litter. I think we grow up learning that you're supposed to look externally for guidance a lot of the time. I think it's always recommended to read a certain book when you're going through something, or I don't know, just to reach for something externally, whether it's religious based or philosophical, spiritual. It's all external. We've been kind of like pointed to do that. And I think that is important. I'm not diminishing that importance. But there is another importance that is deeper than that. Because no matter how many philosophical beliefs or books that you read, they won't hit unless you've developed your own philosophical beliefs, like a self-philosophy in a way. It's almost like one shoe doesn't fit all. Like you can't read something and think that everything applies to you, what's being said. Sorry, there's a hair. It's not taught how important it is to almost write your own book in a way. Like, yes, we talk about journaling and that importance, or like speaking to people, but there's just like how we were to pick up a book on somebody's philosophical views, spiritual views, you're supposed to be doing that for yourself. You're supposed to be analyzing life from your own lens and through your own experience. That's why I think sometimes when people say things that are more on a grandiose scale, like philosophy-wise, or it leads for a lot of nuanced eyes. Like a lot of people can't agree on some things, and a lot of people are like, but what if blank? You know, like what if something that contradicts this belief? And I think that's the beauty of philosophy, is that it's not just one person. The philosophy is you. The belief system is you. And that kind of brings me to my point of like, we're kind of all philosophers in our own ways if we let ourselves, but there's this cool pattern within all of us as humans. We're all radically different, but there's a string in which that connects us all. And I'll give an example, I guess, of my own self, but when I was really young, I developed like two separate senses of selves. I understood that there was a part of me that got a lot of reward. There was a part of me that, you know, if I was goofy, if I was light all the time, people loved me, and they loved me. But when I was more creative, when I was more darker, or when I just wasn't performing all the time with a smile on my face, I didn't get a reward system at all. And that's normal. We all experience that. But I think I really in high school really separated my two selves, and I was like, okay, I have one part of myself that's the light side, and I'm going to call it low, and I've got this other part of me that's the dark side, like the dark side, and I'm going to call that cherry. And that's like what I did. And when I got to college, I had realized, I thought the performing would end after high school, and then when I got to college, I realized that the performance doesn't really end. And sometimes you have to perform to make life easier, to make it so you're not a spectacle to the people in your life. I tattooed cherry on me because I realized that for the next 4 to 5 years, I wouldn't be able to explore my shadow side, my darker side, and let it live and breathe like I thought I would be able to. So I got it as a reminder to myself in a way. And then in college, I think the next year when COVID happened and I got really into philosophy and understanding things, I stumbled across Carl Jung. And when I saw his theories on the light self and the shadow self, I was mind boggled. And this isn't a unique experience. I think actually a lot of us do this. And it's almost like when you analyze yourself enough, you can fall in line with philosophy. You don't actually have to actively go and find it. And I think that's the beauty of spirituality, because that's your own religion in a way. It's your own belief system that you get to make, that's personalized for you. And some things can be on a grander scale, and people can relate to you on certain things and your belief system and be like, you know what, I'm going to integrate that into my belief system. That's the beauty of spirituality in my eyes, because I think that's your own belief structure and religious system in a way. But I don't think this is a unique experience, and I think I'm speaking intuitively, not necessarily science backed up or research backed up here, but through some of my learnings through certain philosophers, it felt like belief systems based on their life and circumstances or situations. And it really led me to believe the fact of like kind of are all that. If we let ourselves almost hyper analyze our life, you as well will develop belief systems. Does that make sense? Like, I don't know, if you hyper analyze yourself and you're able to detach from like viewing life in such a black and white way, I think you're able to develop your own rules and regulations with life and with yourself and how you view life, your own philosophy, your own view of life through your own lens. And there's some things that we can all grasp onto and apply to ourselves, but for the most part, it's like personalized for you. And that's okay. This is more of, I guess, a stretch, but I think a lot of us, especially in religious families or in religious places growing up, we're kind of told that God, spirit, and with other religions, I don't know as much, but we're kind of told that these things, this power, this source exists outside of us, yet it's preached that it's everywhere, which I find to be interesting because everywhere means that it's in you too. And this isn't a new topic. We've all possibly heard people talk about how there's a God in all of us, or there's something in all of us. I grew up in a Catholic family, so I mostly heard that God was outside of me in a way. Like, God is in everywhere, every time. If you ever ask for help, you like, whenever you need to ask for help, you ask. And we're asking something externally instead of asking something internally, when I think we need to be asking more stuff internally, asking the why in yourself, because it is also taught to us that the answer is within ourselves. We have the answers. And again, that's not to say you shouldn't pray, you shouldn't meditate or worship your religious figures that you have, depending on religion you're in. No, I believe that system is awesome. I believe that system is incredible. And there are bigger things outside of us, but we do not need to diminish our own self by believing that it's not in us as well. I think that's self-empowerment in a way, realizing that we also house some sort of source. We also house some sort of power within us. And I'm not trying to sit here and praise like individuality and like this radical self-belief system so that you don't hear other people trying to talk to you or trying to give you advice or whatever. No, you should always be, as well as seeking answers within inside yourself, seeking answers externally and being able to digest it and figuring out what you want to apply, what you don't want to apply, and like listening to your discernment. And I'm not going to blame any system, but I just think it's not as much taught to believe in yourself as it is an external source. But yeah, you can't also get lost in yourself. I think, you always have to have a balance with life. We hear all the time people saying like the power is in you and all the answers are in you. I know I said that, but I kind of want to restate that it's like, it's not a cheesy Pinterest quote. I think there's actual framework underneath that. I don't know how much people really do need to listen to spiritual videos or philosophical videos as much as they need to listen to themselves. I think sometimes it helps you get your foot in the door, but I think, especially with saying my own story, you kind of figure it out, your own philosophy, and it could align with philosophers eventually through your own belief system. And I mean, you experience life and you're not supposed to only digest your own view and your own lens. You're supposed to understand other people, and you're supposed to understand why they believe what they believe. You're supposed to understand nuance and complexity. Life and opinions sometimes are not black and white. And we all have very, very unique experiences. Also, I wrote something to further land my video in a way. I'm much better at landing through writing, so I really emphasize checking out my Substack because I have other conversations going on through there. But to kind of bring everything to a point, I wrote, every book you've ever read that changed you, every quote that felt like it was written for you, every philosophy that finally made you feel understood. None of that came from outside of you. It landed because something inside of you already knew it was true. And that recognition can feel like wisdom, but that's actually just you remembering it. Everything external just helped you hear it. I think I'm good here. My name is Lauren Holiday. I have a Substack that I'll put in the description, and most likely I'll probably write something that further expands my point in the description. I like to do that with my videos. If you have anything that you want to add, that you want to expand on, that you kind of want to disagree on, anything like that, please put it down below. I'm so open to hearing things. My last video, the comments are so beautiful, dude. I started crying yesterday when I woke up and saw all of them because I was like, gosh, I love it. My mind, every single thing that somebody wrote, my mind was just expanding in real time. And That's the whole point, and I love that. I love finding further answers through other people and really trying to connect the dots. So if you have anything more that you want to say, add, or point out to me that I haven't mentioned in the video that maybe furthers this point, expands my point in general, expands your own point, please put it down below. Okay, have a good one.